Jamar Clark case is our legal analyst, Carleton Crutchfield. So, Crutchfield, could you give us any idea of what it would take to reopen the Jamar Clark case, if there's even a possibility?
Sure, Belle. Well, there's a possibility, and it's really not about reopening the case as much as it is about getting another look at the case with fresh eyes. And I think what they're asking in this case is for a special prosecutor, which could be a private attorney, it could be a prosecuting attorney from another county that's brought in to look at the evidence anew, afresh. The BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, has the authority to actually request that a special prosecutor be impaneled or empowered to look at the evidence, and they can make that request. And a county judge can actually appoint an attorney to actually look over the evidence and come with a new recommendation. It's possible.
So, and what's the appeal to the Black Lives Matter movement for having this special prosecutor on this case?
Well, the issue is, across the country we've seen this in many cases where there's this conflict of interest that exists between the county attorney's office and the police. Now, normally the relationship is very close. The county attorneys, when they're prosecuting criminal cases, rely upon the police to testify, to bring evidence. So that relationship is a real symbiotic relationship. They both benefit from that relationship with each other. So then when the prosecutor has to turn his or her attention to the police, it becomes a conflict. And so there have been many movements across the country to break this conflict, and how in police shooting cases, require, their statutes now being debated in state houses all over the country, especially in Georgia and New York, where they're saying, look, we need, anytime there's a police shooting, we need to have the prosecutor's office back off totally, automatically, and have a non-interested, non-conflicted investigator look at the evidence and make recommendations that'll be completely neutral. And I think in this case, there's issue as to whether or not, at least questions in the minds of some in the community as to whether or not it was completely neutral and completely without conflict.
So if a special prosecutor does take over, do you think the ruling could have been different?
Well, we'd have to see. The evidence is out there for everyone to see. There's a lot of evidence being released by the county attorney's office, and whether or not there is a conflict or not, well, the real issue is whether there's an appearance. And if you have a special prosecutor that comes in and reaches the same conclusion that Mike Freeman's office reached, I think it would clarify it, and I think it would remove all the criticism.
Thank you so much, Mr. Crutchfield, for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks, Belle.
Still ahead on UTVS.